to 1 and say welcome to the board budget subcommittee meeting of today, whatever day it is. It's 11/9/2020 at 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock, no matter what my computer says. And as always, we'll just kind of go through the agenda for this coming week and see if there's anything you have questions on, Dr. Burke.
Do we know
But
that there's public
first,
comments?
is there any public comment?
I did not get any public comments or any questions.
No one. Mr. Battle, have you received anything? No. Okay. So there are no public comments. Hopefully our student board member will be joining us soon. I'm not seeing him there on the call, but hopefully he will be. Where are you? Where are your first questions, Michelle?
They're on consent, and it's the first one is just 11-4 with the Mission San Jose tennis courts and the City of Fremont contract.
That's where I am. So let's start with that. What is your question?
I'd like to know more about the financial obligations on both sides. And it states in the item that we're paying $7,000 something over the course of the 5 years. And it's nice to have that joint agreement. I just wondered what the commitment is from the city.
Well, I will speak to this, and Robbie, you can fill in any holes that I don't fill in. It appears as though the district has had a long-term agreement with the city for the use of the tennis courts at Mission San Jose. It's a joint use agreement. The courts actually belong to the city. We are able to utilize those courts, and we pay a fee basically to help upkeep them, about $7,000, which is what we set aside per year, and that's what we do for any tennis courts or anything in the district in terms of routine restricted maintenance. But the fee is basically our portion for that joint use.
Can I ask a clarifying question then,
Mhm.
Mr. Battle?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so in the item, it says that FUSD agreed to construct 3 tennis courts. So we actually built 3 of them. So why does that mean that they're part of this, that the city owns them as opposed to we own them?
I believe, and I need to double check this, but I believe it was on the city's property.
Yes.
They did this big agreement back then, and as a condition of us allowing them to be built, them being built, we have the shared use with the city.
And this is an ongoing contract that we can terminate the agreement if we so inclined?
I'm sorry?
If we're so inclined, we could terminate this agreement?
Yeah, the only thing, if we terminate it, then those students won't have access to a tennis court. So it's really for our use.
Right. Are our students using them for practice right now, or are we anticipating they will be if we go back to?
Yeah, once we go back to full instruction, and then this will be part of their regular athletics in their program at the school.
Okay.
I didn't think of about it that way, because I was thinking more of like PE classes, but now that you describe it as for the athletic program,
Yeah.
So it's unusual, I think, that the district, there's a lot of layers. It's unusual that the district would be paying $7,000 for a facility use for our athletes at one school to be able to use.
You just be clear, it's not a facility use. It's to help to maintain the upkeep. The city pays a lot more than that, putting down whatever they have to do to upkeep the surface. It's just we pay a little maintenance fee every year to help support that as part of that initial agreement.
So instead of our maintaining it like we would at other sites, the city maintains it and we just
Exactly.
pay them for that.
Yeah, we just help them with the maintenance fee. But we're not, I don't want you to think we're paying to use it, because we're not paying to use it
Yeah.
per se.
So again, just thinking about the whole district, we've had concerns, for example, on our own property. I think in recent years, Washington and Irvington have come up and have said, you know, their courts are in bad shape and we didn't have the funds to cover that because they were district owned. And I guess it feels strange to me and help me understand it more clearly, that we're giving $7,000 to the city, which is good because it's also community use property, but it also means that one athletic team has an advantage over possibly others because they have better facilities that we're paying for, or we subsidize in some way. So
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know about the conditions of the other sites, but that should not be the case. We should be doing regular upkeep to all of our courts, and if that's not currently the case, then I need to talk to my my maintenance folks and make sure that we are programming those items to do exactly what you're saying, Michelle. I don't think any school should be advantaged. So.
it might be worth just asking. I would say that both Washington and Irvington have come up recently with concerns about their tennis courts, and maybe they've been resolved, and that would be great.
Okay.
Good to know that.
Washington and Irvington. Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Well, and I think that there were concerns with Kennedy until we had an outside agreement, right? And once we had that agreement with an outside use, then the tennis courts were better cared for.
I'm not remembering that, Anne. Is that before my time?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea how far back that goes, but I don't think it's that.
It's probably
I believe it is before you, Michelle.
Okay. Yeah, we want to make sure that, you know, if we have an agreement with somebody, either for them to maintain it and we're paying the funds, or for us to receive funds to maintain the courts from some group for outside use, and that helps offset the cost, that's great. But if that's happening at 2 sites and the other 3 sites are handicapped by not having supports in the same way, then, I mean, I think with Kennedy, it's sort of a double-edged sword because of availability when you have another group for consideration. So I'm not sure how well that's been working, and we probably need to review it and see that it is working well for us. But I get your point that we want to make sure that all of our students have equal access to quality facilities. So. Okay. So what do you have next?
the next one is for me is 11.5, and that's on the carbon fuel standard credits, which is great.
Mhm.
I just
Same. I was just going to say same. I think it's great that we're being creative and thinking about how we can do, you know, we're always looking for income sources. So that's great. Do you have a question related with it?
yes, and I did ask this in the board questions. So if you have the answer, I think it'd be good for the public to know, since this is on consent. And it was just, how was this particular company selected? What, you know, they're asking for 20%. Is that standard? Why them as opposed to any other? And was there a bid process that was in place for that?
Yeah, and for this type of specialized service does not require a bid process because it is a specialized service under Government Code Section 53060. So that was something that that we looked at this, and because there are not many companies that provide this service, this is the multiple companies were not sought after. The company that was selected is pretty has a good track record in the Bay Area and with several districts. And the transportation department, our director, informed me that the 20% is reasonable when you compare it to other companies that provide this type of service. So we do feel like we are getting a good return for the use of our carbon credits because this is like free money almost. So it's yeah.
Thank you. And I don't know if you have a different type of question on that.
No, no, we got to what I was wondering. And next,
For me, that was actually it related to the budget specifically.
okay, I just had a question regarding the SRO program. There are statements within the report that projects how much different programs will cost for the district as opposed to paying for the SRO program. And I'm wondering if those numbers were generated through the district or how those numbers were arrived. Specifically, it goes into, you know, if we did healthcare providers or, you know, different mental health type of programs that it would cost us X. I'm sorry, I don't have the number right in front of me, which would be a savings over the SRO program.
And I'll have to, CJ, I don't have that information.
I don't know that it was generated from the district directly, unless it came from the business office. It didn't come through my office. So I would have to do a little bit more digging to identify the source by which they identified costs. My guess is if it didn't come through our business office directly, and it didn't come through my office, that it may have come from other public documents related to prior positions. I'm searching through the report right now.
And what page was that? And you're talking about the PowerPoint?
No, I'm actually talking about the actual report itself. I saw
I'm
it
looking
in,
at the
and
wrong thing then. Okay.
I may need to, for some reason, normally I sit there with stickies and mark pages, and I didn't this time. So,
Yeah, we'd have to find out from them where.
it's probably,
Rice, do you know anything about that? Did they get any information from?
I'm thinking.
No, they did not connect me about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
The one place I see it is on page 60 of the report, and I think they're making some general assumptions there because there's asterisks in both of their tables that what they describe as the loaded cost would be an estimate to account for benefits. And I'm not specific to what kind of benefits they're describing because our employees aren't offered benefits in that manner. So, there's a statutory cost for benefits for an employee in terms of what has to be paid as the employer. But I'm not sure where they generated their numbers. I think they may have utilized some public facing documents in terms of salary schedules and estimated from there. And then the other program that they identify on page 60 is the Healthy Choice Program, which is, I believe, forgive me for not knowing more in depth with my limited time at Fremont, but I think that that's a program we partner with. And if that's the case, then there's some assumptions made about cost per day in that program.
Well, and I think even if that program, the cost is accurate, whether the availability is there might be a question. I thought it was compelling argument, but if it's, pulling numbers out of the air, then that's makes it a little less compelling. So I'd like to know where the numbers, because this has been a big question for the community is, or what I personally have received email about, this is great, but how much can you actually do for this amount of money? And they're saying you can do a lot, but which is, like I said, compelling if we know that it's accurate.
Yeah, I think as I'm looking at it now, because I wasn't sure what we were referring to, but this looks like is taken out of our system. I mean, they're just utilizing examples from our from entry-level teacher, because that salary looks about right for entry level and the highest level. So I'm just thinking that they're using these metrics from our current salary schedules, and what they're describing as loaded would be the benefits cost. So that the salary plus the benefits portion of what we pay into the benefits for pension and so forth, that would be the total. So they would have to say that, but I'm pretty sure I believe that's where they're getting it from.
Okay, it's probably worthwhile for Mr. Bailey to be prepared to answer that question, because it is likely to come up at the meeting.
And in addition to that, the numbers prior to this report coming out had indicated that we were paying, I think, $780,000 towards the program, but in the report it indicates $830,000. So, and with that cost projected to increase, so I think that I'd like to be clear on what is our contribution and what is the escalation that's expected.
Agreed.
I'll make a note of both and make sure we have it ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And I think that is all I have. Yep, that's all I have as well. Trustee Burke, if you have nothing else, this is the world's shortest meeting, which we can all stand to have right now, because it sounds like everyone's plates are full. I keep telling my husband, I need a bigger plate. So, all right then. Thank you all, and we're adjourned.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good evening. Bye.